Alrighty guys, so today we're going to talk a little bit about the first axis on your scope. Okay, so what is the first axis on your bow? That's the question to ask now, I guess, is what is that exactly? And that entails how level your scope slider, or whatever you'd call this bar here that your scope slides up and down on, is level with the bow. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is attach the sight to our third axis machine. So I've got it attached in, I've got it attached to my thing. Now I can attach my scope. The third axis leveling system, the first axis, the hands-free kit. Okay, so you can see here that the bubble is a fraction to this side, and this bubble here is dead set in the center. Well, it could even be a fraction back. Turn that back. Okay, so that the bright side's dead on. This back one here is exactly on, but you can see this one is a fraction to this side. It's on that line, so that means we need to adjust the first axis. So now you can see that the first axis and the ground is level. That is how we do our first axis on our sight. So if you need to do your first axis, make sure you get yourself a bright sight setup, and it makes it 10 times easier than having to do it on the bow, that's for sure. Second axis on our achieve scopes. So to get your second axis going, we need our scope. Okay, now we've got our first axis done. Now we can work on our second axis, and what we use, if you can see here, this bubble, we know this bubble and our first axis bubble's perfect. So now we have to, but you can see our scope bubble's out. So your scope bubble needs to be exactly level with this one. Okay, so we can see that's level. We need to get this level. Alrighty guys, check that out. We have our first axis done, and now we've got the second axis pumping out. So as you can see, the first axis, the second axis is perfect. The first axis is perfect. Now we got to do the third axis. Going to do the big kahuna, the big boy himself, the old third axis, the what would you call it? The elusive third axis. That everybody's like, oh, third axis this, third axis that, oh, is it right, is it wrong? And if you can tell, I don't know if you, let's zoom in and show, let's have a look at this. You can see all three levels are dead set spot on. Whoops. So the brilliant thing about this bright sight leveling system is all I have to do to check this is loosen this knob at the back and drop it right down to the ground. Now I can see my third axis is out. So we can see that our bubble is level on the housing, on the leveling system, but on the scope it's way out. You can see the bubble is way off to the side. So that means our third axis is off, and so you can see there that the bubble on the machine is level and the bubble on the scope is level. Now if we shoot it at the roof, there we go. So you can see that the bubble's level, pointing dead set up in the air, just the same as it was pointing down. Level. So that means that the scope third axis is now spot on. Alrighty guys, so that's the third axis done. So now my scope's first axis, second axis and third axis is spot on, absolutely perfect, raring to go. Let's go out the bush. This should make a massive difference now out in the bush, seeing it was so far out. But before we go any further, let's make sure we tighten up these third axis bolts without throwing it off, hopefully. Still spot on. Let's give them a cinch in. just like with all your stuff. Make sure all your bolts on your on everything to do with your bow is tight, because everything vibrates loose. Trust me. So make sure when you redid it, you've tightened up your first and your second axis alignment's good. And the first one's everything all good. So that's it. Bright sight leveling system, third axis achieved on the Achieve Carbon scope. Alright guys, so if you like this video, hit the like button for me. I'm uploading 8 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Times all the time now, so if you want to see videos coming out Australian 8 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time all the time, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the like button for me guys, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons. Hope you liked me struggling with my third axis. Show you how normal people do it anyway. Alright guys, see you in the next one.